get across the tracks, but stay out of my yard, kid. Tonight on Super Bitchin', we look across the tracks at the new Deathride song, End It All.
Good morning, friends. Today we're going to start our first installment of Across the Tracks, where we teach you how to go from beginning to end when writing a single for your new release. Where is everybody? To make a single from beginning to end. This historical cul-de-sac has seen a lot of action in its day. If it was 10 o'clock at night instead of 10 o'clock in the morning, we might need bodyguards. Here he is, the man himself, Mr. Module Overload, Jamie Hilliard.
Good morning. It's a Deathride time of day. Here goes nothing. They'll be here any minute.
He almost killed me. I had a power amp up on the shelf. He was hitting so hard that thing came right off. Raised my nose, like raised my 40. I like it. I got it. It's a nice one.
I'm just labeling some tracks.
Looks like a fun time, right?
Yeah. Basic bullshit.
So usually we sit drums first.
He's
Seems
out
like
there tuning the snare right now. He's working on the drum dial. Don't hear him hitting it, but he's drum dialing.
so you just like 15 minutes process for setting up drums and getting them tuned.
15 minutes?
About 15 minutes, right?
I don't know. We'll see. We've been at it. It's 11:48 now.
Yeah, we wrote this song this week. We had about three or four practices on it.
It's going pretty well. Now we're going to try and finish the song.
Yeah.
One fucking day.
Yep, one day.
Gotta learn the song.
You're not listening to the click at all. Come on in, let's just hear what kind of tones we're getting before we continue.
What's it, Bean?
Hey! It's falling. You're so fucking close. You just need to learn to fucking mellow out. Come here and listen to this take, and then you can see where you're messing up. Mellow out, man. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I think you guys just need to figure out how to settle into that click, figure out what it means, you know. Yeah. Each part is asked. Here we go. Catch it on. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
That's a good pocket.
Yeah.
It said keep it simple and like took all that shit out.
Yeah.
That was tight.
Yeah.
Killer roll at the end there.
Good when you finish, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm not done yet. I'm going to retrack my tracks.
How's it going, everybody? Woo, some metal in the house today. And it all now! And it all now! Alright, we're doing the other side of the tracks, a little story about the recording of the new Deathride song. We did that yesterday, and I wanted to show you some of the gear we used. Adrian, the guitar player, used my amp called the Death Rattle. That's his nickname. It's a Marshall JCM 800. It was the craziest story. It said, modified Marshall amp, blowing tubes. Not fuses, tubes. And nobody wanted a modified Marshall in the 80s. Well, I mean, they were cool, but, you know, like Mesa Boogies were coming out. Marshalls didn't have the value at that time. And especially a modified one. They thought it was, everybody probably thought it was junk, and I knew we had a guy in town named Fat Willie, the amp guru. He could fix anything. It was only going for $550, so I said, alright, I'll buy it. It even came with a hard flight case. So, I get the $550 Marshall, and on the back it says, modified by Egnator Amps. So, that's Bruce Egnator. I'll show you, I got, well, hell, Egnator amp right here. But back before he had his own company, Egnator, he did mods out of his garage. And so anyway, I get this amp, and before I take it to Fat Willie, I decided to call the number on the back. Bruce Egnator himself answered, and he was kind of mad. He's like, "Where'd you get my number?" And I'm like, well, it was just on the back of your amp, and I told him the story. And he goes, "What'd you get that for?" And I said, $550. He goes, "Dude, that's a $3,000 amp." He goes, "Well, what's the serial number on that?" And I told him, and he looked it up, and he goes, "Okay, that's the one that has no Tolex on it. It was stained and refinished." He goes, "I built that for Warren DeMartini." "How the hell do you get it again?" And I told him again. He was all pretty pissed off, but he's like, "I put a Mercury transformer in that. That's modified with KT88s instead of EL34s. It's got an extra preamp stage." This is the Mega Drive mod, they called it. There's an article about it in about 85 Guitar magazine. It's a famous Marshall mod, and this is worth over $3,000, and he made sure he said so. So anyway, this is one of the best Marshalls around. It has more gain than most, and for Adrian's guitar parts, we doubled him, and he used this for both rhythms. Just the distortion on the amp, nothing else. I recently heard our interview with the producer that did Out of the Cellar, and he talked a lot about the recording, how they used a JCM 800. But Warren's solos were all played through a Fender Champ. So I have the 73 Fender Champ that's in just perfect shape. And I thought, well, let's try it. It's not metal at all, but I put this Pete Cornish clean boost in. It adds a whole lot of power and just pushes the preamp tubes. It distorted this amp out. I mic'd it with this modeling mic from Townsend Sphere. It's really cool. It's got an LED in it. Singers love it. Josh, the singer for Deathride, used it also. On all Adrian's guitars with the Marshall, we use the Toll G12. I usually use the G12 with a Royer ribbon mic to get a little more bass, but this time I just used this. And it's a great mic. The Kemper modeling forums, a lot of their stuff, they use this because it's just so accurate. It's the weirdest mic. You don't, like a 57 or something, a common mic you might put to the side, like where this hole's ripped right here, because it's had a 57 jammed into it 1,000 times. But this mic you put right on the center of the cone. You really just gotta listen and figure out where you like it, how the distance, because it, it gets a little bassier up close, but it's tuned with these ports on the side. It just picks up when you stick it straight at the middle of the cone. So it's a perfect mic for live, and I just love it in the studio. I first heard about it because it just came up in an article that Joe Bonamassa and Steve Vai were using them, and the Kemper modeling amps where people were using these like crazy because they're so accurate. So I got one. Matter of fact, while I was online ordering it, I went ahead and spent another $1,000 on their FET 47, the Neumann FET 47 clone that Toll makes. Yeah, it's a $1,000 mic, but the Neumann's $4,000, so it's worth a try. Glenn Hughes from Black Country Communion, the old bass player from Deep Purple, great singer, uses that. He used that Toll mic for his vocals on the Black Country Communion album. We used it yesterday on the Outside the Kick. Dean played with a click. He wasn't perfect on it, but we're not going to adjust any drums. They just used it as a guide. They're staying kind of old school. We're not going to be all technical metal and precise on the grid. We're just going to leave it as it is. The guys played to his drums the way they are, so we're not going to mess with that much. I'm going to put a little bit of a trigger underneath the kick drum here in a second to make that pop out, because he used an old Gretsch. It sounded good, but it wasn't metal. So what we got here is Superior Drummer. I'm throwing a Pearl Masterworks, recorded by Andy Sneap, Judas Priest producer, underneath his kick. His kick was an old Gretsch, and inside it sounded all a little boxy. Outside didn't sound so bad. And together we could have made that work, but it just makes it so much easier to add a little bit of some action. Oops, let's see. So that's in addition. I gotta go ahead and clean up all these hits. That'll take me a little bit, but so yeah, we just added this little overdub right here. That's just the Fender Champ. This is what we added with that Fender Champ, yeah. The Marshall's just heavy as could be. So I didn't want to add just another Marshall over the top, so we stuck that little Champ on there. The bass we just took direct, and I threw an amp compressor and a fake Ampeg on it. I'll still take it away. With Josh, I used the 67 clone, and we added some distortion to his lead vocal, the Decapitator. Check this scream out. And it keeps going and going and going.
Go Josh, here he goes. Then we got Jay's guitar, which was played through a solid state Marshall, I think I call it MG100. I just can't stand it, but what can I say? It's his amp, it's what he wanted. It's alright for metal.
Oh, that's not bad. Good.
Oh, how's that? So maybe it's not that part. Maybe we gotta leave the beginning on. It was the second one. I think it's gonna turn out great. That's a good one.
Okay. Let's see if that matches.
There are beautiful accidents, you know.
Yeah, serendipity.
Serendipity.
I don't get enough of those. Smile, Jamie.
That's gonna be hard. Benny?
I don't know.
Okay.
You know, as long as it doesn't sound like it's pulling out. Very damn close, and if it's
Alright, do it again.
yeah, hit it again.
That same pattern?
But yeah, I like it.
Deathride are a Super Bitchin band from Colorado Springs. Here's the premiere of their self-made video for End It All.
This shit's fucking crazy. I don't know what's happening. Oh, fuck. Shit's really fucking going down right now, people. Fucking take cover. Prepare yourself.